Good morning, welcome to our Talks and Anthony's here. We're going to have a insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversation content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being. However, in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about confronting societal stigma, the truth about mental illness, and how to overcome it. Good morning. I want to be able to take in consideration that, shed some light over the harmful societal stigma surrounding mental illness and challenging concepts around it. We got to be able to talk about mental illnesses, like I said, it's misunderstood, right? It's been dismissed and even, it's even feared, right? So despite of being a wild spread reality for different people, the stigma around mental illness is really just difficult for people that are seeking help and finding support, and even just like I said, just misunderstood. So I wanted to be able to develop a video that will be able to help us understand why mental illness carries so much stigma and how to impact that takes on individuals and to society, and why is it most importantly for us to be able to break the silence and challenge the stereotypes and create a world where able to seek that help. And mental illness is something that we're able to navigate through with that positive mindset and that understanding, right? So mental illness is, seen as, just like our physical health, right? So same way we could, seek the doctors on that aspect and, do what we got to do on that aspect. What about the therapist? What about our mindset? What about what's going on in the brain, right? So what about our feelings? What about our thoughts? What about, how we're affecting in regards to our behavior, right? Excuse me. So there's different attributes on, why things are the way they are and how we're able to really, like I said, break that stigma and receive the proper support. So stick with me and grow with me, and we're able to learn throughout this video. In first segment, we're going to be talking about what is stigma and why does it exist, right? So in regards to our key concepts, we're going to be talking about defining of stigma, right? So, negative attitudes, beliefs, and stereotypes about people and mental illness that can lead to discrimination and exclusion. So people feel as if that once they are involved with this mental illness or have the stigma upon it, they feel as if that they're not going to really be treated the same. They're going to be, not included in regards to some things in regards to those people or whatever that may be. So people feel as if that they just don't want no associations. So they just kind of put on the mask and act like everything's okay, right? And we really got to take in consideration that that's not the life that you want to have, because when you act like everything's okay, but really it's not okay, the stress, it builds up, right? And it comes and manifests in different ways. So I just want to be able to just kind of be blunt off the rip when it comes to that aspect, right? So in addition to that too, we have self-stigma too. So we internalize shame. We have an embarrassment that people with mental illness may feel, right? So we have that self-sabotage, the way we talk to ourselves, the negative thoughts, etc., and just the way that society's impact on it makes us feel, right? So we immediately just have that shame. We also have structured stigma. So we have policies or systems that exclude or disadvantage people with that mental health condition, right? So that's just kind of being direct and really just kind of bringing that to the light. And just why does it exist, right? So fear and misunderstanding, right? So lack of education and awareness about mental health overall is something that just is the reason why it's feared, and we don't understand what it is, right? So we got to take that in consideration. In addition to that too, we have cultural and historical influences. So mental illness often viewed as a weakness, or you're a crazy person, or something wrong with you, or something to be ashamed of. These are just something that, or just be real. Gotta be real. And I think that is really, I really advise you guys to, type into comments some different things that you have heard or what you know about, and really kind of bring this to the light, because we really got to just be real about these things, because it's something that impacts all of us in some type of way, and how we're able to conceptualize what mental illness is in various perspectives due to our cultural and how we're navigating with that in our own families, right? So we also have a media representation, so often portrays mental illness negatively, portraying that fear and that misinformation. So it's just misguiding people to make them feel as if that, like you looking you're looking kind of crazy, looking kind of shady, you look like something's wrong with you, something, like just. At the end of the day, we got to realize at the end of the day, we're dealing with ourselves. No one knows better than ourselves. We got to realize that we're sitting with ourselves 9 times out of 10, We came into the world alone. We're going to, leave alone, Like, I'm just being really real in that aspect, but it's like in a real way, we got to really sit with ourselves and really have that mindfulness and really understand that, regardless of what other people say about us, we got to still sit with our issues, right? So we got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves in that aspect, That's just for me to you. and really just embracing ourselves with that self-compassion. But I really want us to take in consideration in regards to our reflection, in regards to thinking about, you know what I mean? Like, have you ever hesitated to talk to someone about mental, health because you were feared of being judged or misunderstood, you know what I mean? And overall, you know what I mean? The fear of societal stigma too, like how does that tie into the way that you conceptualize, you know what I mean? Mental, health and even seeking services, you know what I mean? So I want to just kind of have you think about that and get active, you know what I mean, in the comments. But moving forward, I want us to talk about our next segment. We're going to be talking about the impact of stigma on mental health, right? So, concepts in regards to social isolation, right? So the fear of being judged or, rejected leads to, many to hide their struggles in regards to mental health worsening. So things will just get worse by just, like I said, just act like everything's okay, right? When things are not okay, right? So there is a delay in seeking help as well. So stigma discourages individuals from seeking therapy or medical care, often leading to, like I said, worsening symptoms, right? So we're neglecting our needs. So these are really impactful, right? We also have lower self-esteem. So internalizing negative societal views can make people feel mental illness feels less worthy or capable of. So, you know what I mean? So when you're believing the things that you're seeing out there, the perception and stuff like that, not everything that you see is what you think, right? I mean, it's really the truth, right? It's really the reality, right? So you can't be misguided, right? Because there's a lot of people out here that are working against you, but you think they're on your team, right? So I'm really trying to really take into consideration that we really got to really be insightful, really got to be plugged in, but really got to really be able to love ourselves, right? And recognize that things that we're seeing can also make us feel incapable, right? Moving forward, we also have discrimination in the workplace, right? So people with mental illness may face challenges in regards to finding and, keeping their jobs due to the fact that there is bias and attitudes towards them, right? So we got to take that in consideration, but also at the same time too, we got to advocate for ourselves, reach out to the HR, reach out to the support, you know what I mean? And talk your piece, really just be able to advocate for yourself, and even have a therapist on the side too, could really be able to help you navigate these things as well, because you're talking about your day-to-day struggles with that support per individual professional, right? So moving forward, we also have the exacerbation of suffering, right? So stigma can make individuals feel, invalidated, right? Deepening their feelings of shame and that hopelessness as well. So these are things that impact overall stigma in different ways, in different forms. Like I said, a personal aspect, you have your work aspect, right? You have the societal aspect, you have your cultural aspect, right? So just different ways that your mind's being able to be impacted and, in various negative ways, right? So the stigma you face doesn't define your worth, right? We gotta take it into consideration. It's a reflection of ignorance, not your value, right? So we don't care about what other people think about us. We don't care. They ain't going through the pain. They ain't going through the trauma. They ain't going through the experiences. They ain't going through, you know what I mean? The things that you went through, right? So you gotta be able to take that into consideration, that you have to navigate yourself through to get to your journey, right? So like I said, your experiences don't define you, right? And you're able to seek, a better outcome when you're able to get that proactive support, but also to that self-acceptance, recognizing that this is okay. You know what I mean? So moving forward to our next segment, we're going to be talking about challenging misconceptions about mental illness, right? So we got to talk about mental illness is not a choice. We got to take that in consideration for those out there. This is not something that someone just wanted to just have and like these are real experiences. This is something that's really going on, right? So it's not about being strong or, just getting over it. Mental illness conditions, right, are complex, biological, environmental. It's something that did happen, and you have to be able to take that in consideration. Also, too, like I said, too, biological too. So like this could be genetic, right? So we got to take in consideration that this could just be something that someone just got based off of genetic history. Moving forward, we also have mental illness doesn't equal violence, right? So people with mental illness are more likely to be victims of violence than predators, right? So we got to take that in consideration. People out there that are trying to get the help don't have that misconception that they're just angry people or they just have issues or whatever. No, these are individuals that are, that are marginalized, that need the support, but usually just, people are just quiet, you know what I mean? Just let them suffer, and that's not okay. So people like myself that are a mental health advocate, I really want us to take consideration, you know what I mean? Like, it's beneficial for us to seek that support, raise our hand, advocate. People don't know what's going on with you unless you advocate for yourself. But moving forward, we gotta take into consideration that you can't always tell, right? So just because someone looks fine, on the outside doesn't mean that everything is going, is everything smooth, right? So, we got to take that into consideration, that there may be issues on the inside. One thing that I liked about my sister recently when she came over to see me, you know what I mean? She's like, you looking good, you looking healthy, you looking good, you know what I mean? You got me sharp, blah, blah. But it's like at the same time too, she's like, what's going on internally? What's going on with you, right? So we have to be able to have that sense, right? The mental health is really big, because what's going on in our mind, what's going on with your emotions, what's going on with your behavior, what's really going on. And we're so prone in society to just be able to say, we're doing good, I'm all right, you know what I mean? Things are all right, things are good, right? But is it really good? What's really going on, all right? And so, like I said, we can't always tell. Moving forward, we're taking consideration that mental illness isn't a permanent state, right? So with the right treatment, support, and the self-care, many people with mental illness can, live fulfilling and meaningful lives too, able to get back on track, able to improve, even come out better, right? So you got to really recognize that too, like, you know what I mean, with the proper support, you know what I mean, and making sure that you're putting yourself as a priority, not really thinking about what other people think about you, right? And really just kind of just, like I said, self-acceptance, loving yourself. Other people have this too, able to navigate with the proper supports, doing the things that we got to do to manage our own, you know what I mean, our own things, what's on our plate, and things we're able to progress and get better, right? So I really want to recognize that as well. A pro tip I wanted to take in consideration is when you hear someone say something that stigmatizes mental illness overall, right? So use it as an opportunity to educate, right? Challenge misconceptions and shift collective attitudes, right? So change it into a positive mentality. Change it into a positive mentality. I want you to take into consideration that, you know what I mean, like regardless of what other people say out there, you don't got to sit there and be combative and just kind of keep arguing with people out there. Let people just believe what they're going to believe, but do what's best for yourself. You know what I mean? I want you to be able to get to where you want to be and wherever you need to be, right? So moving forward, I want to be able to take consideration to our next segment is how to challenge the stigma and create change, right? So we got to be able to take the consideration that education is key, right? So learning about what's going on, learning about mental illness, learning about mental health, right? And sharing the knowledge with others can be able to help reduce the stigma. You're going to be able to enlighten other people with that that knowledge, right? Moving forward is to be able to speak up. Like I said, we got to be able to advocate. So when you hear someone making negative, comments about the mental illness, challenge them respectfully, right? But like I said, sometimes it ain't even worth it, right? But if you can, by the best of means, like I said, educate them to the best of your capabilities, but just move on, right? You don't got to get yourself all antsed up. People are going to be, who they are. We don't have control over them. We have control over who we are, right? So moving forward, we also can take into consideration is be open and vulnerable, right? So sharing your own mental health journey can help normalize conversations and reduce that stigma as well. You know what I mean? Like when you go over certain obstacles in your life, when you have that resilience, you navigate through, and you're going through the healing too, talk about it, let it, release it, you know what I mean? Claim it, you went through it, it's done, right? And also that can be able to help other people too, recognize that, they have some of the similar experiences too, and they're able to recognize that I'm not the only one. This can develop that comfort and reduce that shame too. So moving forward, I want to take in consideration is we have the support mental health advocacy, right? So, get involved with organizations that are fighting, the same challenges and trying to push the same narrative in regards to raising that awareness and providing the resources for mental health to be able to help people get, the support that they need, right? And really be able to move forward and create a safe space where we can encourage environments where people can feel safe to talk about, mental, health and fear, no judgment in regards to whatever they're experiencing, whatever it's going on, right? So we got to be able to, like I said, by making the world a better place, we got to be moving more proactive, by making people feel more comfortable, making people feel as if that there's no judgment, making people feel as if that they're able to get their needs met by just being authentic, right? And I think that's really what's important. But most important too, off rip, like it said, and like I'm telling you as well, is education, right? Really got to be able to take in consideration that education is really going to be able to help us move forward when we're able to have that proactive knowledge to be able to reduce overall that stigma. So moving forward in regards to our next segment, I want to be able to talk about the power of empathy. The compassion can end the stigma, right? So when we're kind to ourselves, we're loving ourselves, and we're giving that more of that positivity, the negativity, the darkness goes away, right? So I really want us to take that in consideration, right? So the key concept off rip is empathy versus sympathy. So empathy is about understanding and connecting, not feeling sorry for someone, right? It's about understanding and connecting. Next is going to be compassionate listening. So sometimes, the best way to reduce a stigma is to simply just listen without judgment. Just really just be present. normalize mental health conversations. So the more we talk about mental health openly and respectfully, we're able to normalize it and develop a part in regards to that human experience, so people are able to just feel normal, because that's what it's supposed to be. They're able to talk about whatever you feel, whatever it's going on, but like I said, respectfully. Next is going to be support, not silence, right? So we got to be able to encourage friends, family, and our colleagues to be able to support when we're needed in regards to develop that world, to be able to have that difference that we all need, right? We got to be able to encourage us to be able to have that support and not just just be quiet. In regards to a mind shift, I want to be able to take in consideration is that when we're able to embrace empathy, we're able to take in consideration that we're having a shared experience in regards to humanity, we're able to have a better mental health and have that support that we all deserve when we're able to just kind of just embrace that we all need that support. Moving forward and just closing this video up together, I really want to take in consideration that mental illness is not something that we gotta fear. It's not something we gotta be silenced. It's not something that we don't have to have understanding. It's something that we can't understand. Like I said, we have that proactive knowledge and we're able to challenge the stigma and break these walls of ignorance down, and create a world where we're able to feel safe, feel heard, and feel that we're able to get that help when we're able to speak up, right? Share our stories and our experiences, educate others and educate ourselves, right? And have a closer understanding that, like I said, of society. And sometimes we just gotta just block out the noise and do what's most proactive for ourselves and our mental health. And overall, within time, we're able to create a new narrative and break the silence and have that acceptance and have that authenticity and have that normalization in regards to mental health. If you found this video was beneficial, give a thumbs up, share it possible, and take it easy. Stay blessed.